We are
Didi
and Arma, and in our daily lives, we support people on the path of self-liberation. We teach time-tested energy skills like Qigong, Tai Chi, internal alchemy, traditional nutrition, and meditation.
We help people release stagnation, build energy, and become aligned with themselves and their purpose in life.
In this podcast, we share the methods, skills, and solutions that helped us, our students, and now hopefully you move forward.
Let's explore transformation together.
Podquest. Yeah, because it's not really a podcast. It's like a podcast request.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a podquest. So
That's great.
It's a new word. Yeah, I just man, I have to get like a trademark on this. Okay. Well, we got a request about literature about
5 elements.
5 elements. Didi's favorite subject.
Yeah.
And
So we looked for some books that we love.
That helped us.
And that helped us. So let's start with the first one.
Yeah, the first one is, it's not the first book on this material that came into the house, but it was recommended by my teacher. It's called Heavenly Streams by Damo Mitchell. And I was reading another book about these subjects, and it was too heavy for me.
Yeah.
It was just like, whoa, you know. So my teacher said, this one is really readable, and it goes much more into it's not only about 5 elements in theory, but it's also the Taoistic view. It's the spiritual angle is here, and there's also exercises in here which are great, right? So it's also an experience book. It's not only just words on paper. It's and it's very readable. And I love it.
Yeah, and I think for especially people who train, and I think for most people who watch this channel.
Yeah, you train Qigong, Tai Chi.
Exactly, and Damo Mitchell is a teacher. So
most of you probably know.
Yeah,
him.
probably.
He's all over YouTube, and he's made more books than this. But yeah.
So that would be really great to start.
Yeah. Really good book.
Yeah.
Really good book.
And so for me, I read that, of course, but then I started my study, and 5 elements are the basics of traditional Chinese medicine. So the most books that I have are study books.
Yeah.
Books for studying. And
they become thicker.
By every
if you're just hearing this,
book.
right? They're going from.
So Damo Mitchell is a great introduction, and if you the next book that we have is, well, this is a Dutch version that I have laying in front of me, but the English title is Between Heaven and Earth, and it's written by Harriet Beinfield and Ephraim Korngold. Hope I pronounce it well. So Between Heaven and Earth, and that's the basic a book that you need to buy when you start your study.
Yeah.
It's very readable, and it gives you a great introduction again, but it's more from an angle when you start to study acupuncture, herbs, Tuina, or 5-element food. But still, if you don't want to go to school to study traditional Chinese medicine, but you do want to have a better understanding about what it's all about, it's still a great book. And you do, and the next time you go to your acupuncturist, you understand what he's doing.
That's well said, right?
Yeah.
Because the 5 elements are, of course, like they're in a larger picture, right? And these books explain the larger picture. And some have like Damo Mitchell's book has this point of view, right? This angle on it, and this has maybe a little bit different angle on it. And that's the great thing if you have more books about the same subjects, right?
Yeah. Third book. Well, that's a very, very thick book, and
it's like a phone book.
I needed to have it here on the table because I think if we talk about 5 elements, it's a book that you cannot skip. It's The Foundation of Chinese Medicine by Giovanni Maciocia.
That's a classic, right?
And that's a classic. And a lot of people who study traditional Chinese medicine or acupuncturists or Tuina herbalist who based on Chinese medicine, they will know this book.
It's like
everybody knows this book.
Encyclopedia.
Yeah.
It's
the
massive.
exams would be based on this book. It's not something I would recommend if you're just starting with 5 elements or traditional Chinese medicine, and this is not your first book. You need to have a better understanding first. But if you really, really want to dive into it,
that's the one.
That's the one to get.
Yeah.
And it's great for looking up stuff. Especially for acupuncturists and herbalists, but if you're really interested, you can always have a look. And of course, this is also from a standpoint for the practitioner.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is for the practitioners. This is more.
Well, it can be for a practitioner. And if you are and you don't know this book yet, you have to get it because it gives it another angle. Yeah. And I think, and I'm not sure if it's true, but I think there's information in Heavenly Streams that is probably not in these books because it's more about also the experience and certain exercises that can get you in a certain feeling and things like that. So it's. You cannot have just a book about 5 elements, right? It's always in a larger picture. And this one has that aspect of, the practical feeling aspects of this.
And the plus,
so
it's readable. It's very readable.
Yeah.
Which I love.
In Dutch, we would say there's not a word too much in it. Right? So every word is really
counts.
Yeah, it's very well edited and it takes you on a journey. And the spiritual aspects in here it's constantly coming back to the spiritual aspect. So you see what Damon Mitchell himself is probably looking for, right? And that's beautiful. Yeah. That's really beautiful. Yeah.
We have a bonus book.
Yeah.
Because that was the first book I had on 5 elements, and that got me really intrigued. The only thing is that it's just in Dutch and German as far as we could find. It's written by Dr. Silvana Schwitzer. In Dutch, it's called Vuurman en Watervrouw. In German, it's Feuermann und Wasserfrau.
Feuermann und Wasserfrau. Ja, doch.
Oh, yeah.
Fireman.
Feuermann.
Yeah.
I have to practice my German as well.
Yeah. We're switching languages here.
Yeah, but that's a book that's easy to read, gives the basics of 5 elements and get you into all the characteristics per element. Also gives some exercises actually. This was for me. It's a book. That just gives you.
I think it's also a classic in its own, right? Yeah. And so, if you're a publisher, right, and you're seeing this needs to be translated in English. I don't know why it's not. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's not, but I couldn't find it on internet.
No, so I couldn't find it either. So, but if you can read German or Dutch, that's a lovely book to just start with. And
very, written in a way, it's really
easy.
Nightstand material.
Easy
right?
and interesting. And it just gives you a basics.
Yeah.
And for all books, it counts. For me, reading all those books gave me an intellectual understanding about 5 elements, but just working with them and treating clients, giving them advice on their food, making recipes on herbs for them. That really got me into 5 elements, and also growing the herbs, understanding about the seasons, and understanding about how the cycle of change really works, which are the 5 elements. That explained it even better on a much deeper level.
So you need to, if you want to go deep, you have to have some experience in practice something like and you could study herbs or
and connect with nature, because it's a model that that's inspired by nature. People who've really looked at nature. How does nature behave?
Yeah, change and seasons and cycles and
How does the energy move through the cycle? And
change,
and that's translated in 5 elements in a beautiful way.
In a sort of system, right?
Yeah, in a system where you can work with. So, understanding nature, being in nature, connecting with nature, experiencing nature,
aligning with nature.
And aligning with yourself, with the three bodies, like on a physical aspect, on mental and
energy, spiritual, emotionally, all these levels, right? And that's so great. So we don't have one book, right? In our house. No, I mean, there's more, right? And so, and these different angles are just awesome. Yeah. And then
we're going to make a lot more podcasts on 5 elements, because we love to talk about it. And then hopefully you will get more understanding as well. But do look for some books, and these are some you might find interesting. And so
okay.
That's it.
Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this, and talk to you later.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.